Homelander? Okay. Wait for some people to get in here. As always. Long day today. Yet not really long, just chaotic. Ah, what the frick. Alright. Let's go ahead and wait for some peeps. Ah. Okay. Try to get on as much or whatever many people as possible. Now we're just going to sit back, chillax, and wait a second for the people to get in. Pretty much same routine. Okay, my ink is still not in yet. Printer ink. Jeez. For the people who are already in here, how are your guys these days? I'll take it the two being here are just, silent listeners. Just waiting like me. The numbers of how many people are here, like, sometimes it lies to you because there could be less or more than that number. So, however many people get in, it's just how many I assume are in. Now, this has been my background. Another one looked way too pink for my taste. There we go. That's more better. Get rid of that. Notes. There we go. Now we're good. Shut up, phone. Nah, what the frick? Might as well be on it if I'm going to be waiting. Is it me, or does the floating backgrounds and the balloons and the balls in the background here especially look like freaking baby Einstein? Maybe that's just me. This one especially looks freaking awesome. Show those later. Still waiting for people. Everybody in? Anyone at all? Hopefully we don't have another repeat of a month ago. Suck. Hey, King Devin. I've just been chilling more or less. It's a chaotic day. So, did you see my recent community post about starting up a merch site? Or, like a sort of merch site and like the Discord and everything? That update? Well, I basically said on there that I would be starting up something, and it's basically gonna be, since I'm way too broke to be able to do stuff like shirts and like what other merch people do, I decided I got my printer back up and running because I have one, and I'm basically going to print out custom art from pictures I've made for my channel and my stories and my upcoming stories, and basically get them on frames and stuff, start an eBay thing, and that will be my merch site, and eventually get like a different one or add like shirts and stuff to there in the future, like way future. Yeah, and I printed out a few. First one is my Reckon Goku one with the Omniverse background. And I'm going to show you a few. The Rick with Lightning McQueen background I have for my thing. Here is Sophia being Negan, which I also have another picture for. This is the recent one for my Cliff story, him holding the key to Vector Sigma. We got a picture of Amy, since this was the best picture I think that I could really put, with Amy and Beth teaming up in the finale. My picture from my Hercule story. We got Garen with Destroyer Key, because once again, best picture. And then this is funny, actually. Whenever I start selling these, this is going to be like really funny. Lori and the Red Hulk picture, and I'm going to put something like, "Who hates Lori?" and then like people sign it or something like that. It's going to be really freaking funny, that one. Then this is the best one for Nom, the ending picture for the finale with him and Tien and Goku. Then Dale with the shotgun arm. And then last but not least, for now, because I need to get ink, Merle with the sword hand. But yeah, that's my path that I'm going to take. All I need to get is ink and frames. I need picture frames. Because without picture frames, I can't sell them. Because then it would just be like someone could just print out that picture. You would need frames in order to do that. But luckily, I'm able to get instant ink for only $5, 10 pages worth of ink and paper for only $5 for like moderate use. You know, there's different uses for the app. It's HP Smart, since I have an HP printer, and this is basically the best option that I could go with, besides the memberships, to continue with my channel. And considering that every single other YouTuber and their mom has a merch site, why not make one of my own? But then again, it's still in the beginning phases, because until I get the frames, and mainly the frames, until I get the frames, I'm not going to be doing anything, putting out links on the channel or doing anything like that. It's going to be like another week in the making. So for now, I just wanted to show you the pictures. Yeah, it really would. That's the plan. That is definitely the plan. All right, let's say we start the Q&A, even if you're the only one in here. I would certainly hope so. Yeah, I got paper coming, even though I got freaking tons and tons of paper. Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is how much paper I have right now. And I got more paper coming just because I felt like it was... Because if I'm going to be printing out multiple copies of things, because I can't just print out one of one picture, you know? I got to make copies. So, more or less, yeah, that's literally what I have to do. I'm going to need as much paper as possible. And for only $5, 10 pages, like, or something a month, that's really good. Like, exactly, backups. You know me, especially with like working ahead and everything. That's literally what makes me, is working ahead and like getting as much done as possible. Now, I haven't worked on the Tatum stuff yet, because once again, I'm still on the break until the McQueen story comes out in the beginning of August. Sort of the latest that I'm going to say that I will be on the channel is the 15th of August. Then again, I am taking a vacation the 16th through the 18th. Then I'm trying to get moving by the 20th, like move out, everything like that. But it's all... August is going to basically be, not only for the channel, but real life stuff, a busy month for me. But as you guys probably know, especially Devin, I am dedicated to YouTube full time, even if it's not full time. Yeah. I actually looked into that, about how much subs you would need in order to go full time on YouTube. And turns out you need 100,000, and I'm at 1,000. So technically I'm only 1 to 2% there now that I'm past the 1,000 mark, which is fine. It's a great start considering 7 other failed channels before, but it just lets me know that I have a lot of work to do, which is why I'm so dedicated to working ahead on projects, taking breaks, and freaking putting out these intense stories, because I love this. And then I got people saying, oh, well, YouTube might not be big in a few years. And you know what? People have been saying that since freaking 2018, 2019, and even 2020, and YouTube's still hitting strong. That just goes to show a few things. Number 1, jealousy. Number 2, lack of faith. Number 3, just lack of interest. But hey, what am I to know? I'm just a kid who's just liking YouTube stuff. You know, nothing more. Anyways, Deadpool and Endgame, I think, is saved along with several other Deadpool what-ifs, including ones that you've recommended for Amazing Spider-Man and then the Tobey, along with Deadpool and The Walking Dead, and several others. Something I want to touch upon real quick. It has to do with the recent ones I'm saving. Because I've been watching some Dead Meat recently, with the kill counts and everything, if you're familiar with the channel. And I've been saving a lot of horror story what-if ideas from the stuff I'm seeing and just getting a better feel of like the villains and the plot and everything. And I've got a bunch of sick ones saved for the future. Keep in mind, the vast majority of stories, obviously, are not going to happen for the foreseeable future. Gargiulio, hello! Nice to see ya. I got some It what-ifs saved. I got Zathura and Jumanji being connected. And then, basically, I have Chucky fighting Slappy the Doll, Freddy Krueger using Michael Myers and Chucky like he did with Jason Voorhees before Jason fought him. Then I got some It what-ifs like Pennywise and all that. Predator what-ifs. And then we got Santa what-ifs from the Santa Slay horror movie. Except they're crossovers. They're not lone what-ifs, you know? Except the It one, because I can actually do something there. What else? So people recommended me the Mist ideas back, like way back, and I actually I watched the kill count off of recently The Mist. Hi, Danny C Studio. And I actually thought of something very creative with a character from The Mist. Along with the crossover being The Mist in The Walking Dead, which is a lone what-if idea and going to be very complex to put in. Don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I thought of a very, very good idea. Mrs. Carmody, that crazy god lady from The Mist, who, you know, is all loopy. Basically, I thought of a great place to put her. At first, I was going to make her be some kind of mastermind who would be like, you know, making Father Gabriel like some kind of villain, which I might still actually do. But I thought of a great group to put her in, the Reapers, because of how god crazy they were. And I thought that it was a great place to put Mrs. Carmody from The Mist. So in the future, you guys are going to see Mrs. Carmody be a part of the Reapers. And I think that's a very good place to put her. And then I got like Pennywise fighting Slender Man and Jason Voorhees and Slender. And I got a bunch of what-ifs thanks to Dead Meat. It just takes the simplest YouTube channel or thought process to come up with a good story. What if Megan fought Chucky? Let's go for it. That's awesome. I'm surprised. No one ever recommended me any Megan or Chucky what-ifs. And even though I've never watched the Chucky series, I've seen kill counts of it. If that wasn't obvious. Let me think. Dwight killed Rosita instead of Denise? Well, Denise doesn't replace Rosita. No way. So, someone recommended me that before. No can do. What if the governor killed Michonne in season 3? Several people have recommended that to me, and the closest you're going to get to that is a what if that someone recommended me recently, which was what if the governor killed Andrea or Michonne instead of Andrea, and then Andrea gets like Michonne's sword, which was an idea put in by me with the sword thing. But that's the closest you're going to get, because the idea by itself, without someone to replace Michonne, you can't do it. She's a spin-off character, for Christ's sake. What if Leatherface joined Terminus? Leatherface is one of the very, very few villains of the horror franchise that I've never gotten into. I just know bits and pieces about. But I actually got a DVD from my dad about Leatherface, because soon in the future, I plan to get into his character, or at least try to. So let's just say that whenever I do get into it, I promise you, if I don't remember, tell me back the idea and I will get into it. But that's like if I'm interested in Leatherface's character. But we'll see. Hey, I'm interested in Freddy Krueger's character, and I'm not even into the movies. So that just goes to show you something. Many things I actually got into have been off the internet and not actually watching franchises. Like, for example, God of War games. I love the character Kratos. One Punch Man, I love Saitama. Naruto, I love the characters, and I just got a game. That's it. So, I mean, that's literally what humanity is about. You don't have to watch or play something to like the characters. I know I'm kind of speaking the obvious here, but more or less it's just to the people who would say, oh, you need to do that or this to do that. But that's just the world. What if the season 3 prison group was in the same prison where Teddy was locked up in fear? Now, I'm going to say we don't know specifics on where that prison was located, nor would it be able to tie into truly into the story. But I do have Teddy being in the prison of where that prison group was. That's the closest you're going to get. So it's kind of like your idea, except it's flip-flopped. Someone else recommended me that. Oh, and as always, guys, if I ever forget, if it happened recently and I'm just not paying attention enough, if I ever put in an idea of yours specifically, if any of you have an idea and I don't outright say it, or I forget that it was one of you, gladly tell me and you will get a shout out for saying that idea. I don't think that it happened recently, since it's been a slow ball with the stories as of late, kind of. But just as a general rule of thumb. Now, what else was I going to say? Oh, Daryl season 2 is coming out this September, at the end of September. A season 3 is going to be coming next year in Spain. And apparently, Daryl Dixon's Norman Reedus is planning on playing the character for another 6 to 7 years. And a season 4 is even freaking confirmed at this point. I'm not even joking. They have done a lot more. If you guys have seen the trailer just yesterday, and Dead City's season 2 trailer just came out, and Negan has freaking Lucille back in that trailer. And I actually want to talk about that real quick. What do you guys think of that, for those of you who saw that trailer? I don't think, because for one thing, Negan's original bat, he broke and burned. As for, what's it called? Brandon, the kid who gave Negan that knockoff bat, don't know what happened to that one. That kind of just vanished. We never know what happened to Brandon's Lucille that Negan had in the Whisperer arc. And as for this new bat, there's no way that bat is the same. It looks almost exactly like Lucille. Like, literally. It looks dead the same. And I know that there was a flashback in season 1 of Dead City with Negan having Lucille and Simon and the Croat returning, but that doesn't There's no way that's a flashback, and there's no way that that bat is the same. Unless, I don't know, like, I'm going to laugh if they somehow magically came into that house after Negan left, got that bat, went all the way to New York, talked to the Daima, and then waited until everything transpired, and somehow magically they reconstructed the bat out of almost nothing. I know that sounds far-fetched, but I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm saying it's going to be funny if it's like that, because that's the first thing that came to my mind. But it looks so similar that I couldn't help but think that. Personally, I'm just really stoked to see Negan with another bat. Even when he used that knockoff one that Brandon gave him, which, again, we don't know what happened to it. That was even cool getting... Because, come on, can you really have Negan without a bat or a melee weapon? Especially... Whenever Negan came on the first time I watched The Walking Dead, and he had the barbed wire and the bat, I'm like, that is the coolest weapon in its entirety. No joke. From that point on, that weapon became my favorite weapon ever. I even got a few myself, but I broke them. Because I tested it out on freaking just random crap. Like freaking big, huge sticks and like wood and stuff like that. Let's just say I got into the mood of Lucille way too much. On Quadrant for Daryl season 2. Well, it showed him in the trailer having a patch, and that made him look a lot like the governor. I'm very wondering if how Daryl took his eye, or how Quadrant loses his eye. Because not too many people have lost their eye in The Walking Dead. Carl, the governor, and that's kind of it. Oh, and then Denise got shot in the eye with the, crossbow. But that's kind of it. So another person losing their eye? Count me in. Personally, I just want to see how Carol gets to finding Daryl with the plane and everything like that. Because we now know that whenever she was talking to him in season 1, she was actually talking about that Rick came back. I know it was all speculation and it could have just as easily been like Morgan or someone else came back. But considering the timeline of it all, we now know that she was talking about Rick. So I just want to see her get back. It's probably not going to happen until the finale of season 2, which Norman Reedus said himself that it's going to be the best Walking Dead thing anyone's ever seen. He said that. As for Dead City, people keep complaining about how far in time Dead City is. But people are also talking about that if season 2's coming out and everything, people want the timing of Dead City to be retconned because neither Negan nor Maggie talked about Rick. So we have to do some retconning in order to figure all that out. So Dead City's timeline is the only timeline that, for me, and probably everyone else, doesn't understand. For everything else, I think we all get it, right? At least I would hope so. Because I'm very good with time. Let's just call time a part of my life. essentially. Dead City apparently is going to have Negan's brother. Now, the casting and a bunch of rumors have pretty much confirmed it for like 50% of the most part. As for Daryl, people keep thinking about that they're finally going to introduce Jeffrey, Rick's brother from the comics, which I've only heard minor rumors about. But to have two brothers included and have them be Rick and Negan's, it's going to be freaking awesome. That's a very interesting freaking twist to add, if you ask me. Since there are more of you here, if you guys saw the recent community post that I'm doing, or that I did, and the Discord and everything, I'm planning to set up my own merch site. Now, it's not fully set up yet, but basically what I'm going to be doing, instead of shirts and clothes and stuff like that, because I'm way too broke for that, is basically I need to get picture frames, but I'm going to print and sell custom pics and art from my stories and my what ifs, like my channel, and I'm going to sell them. Here's some examples. The Rick and Goku one. Here's the picture with Rick with Lightning McQueen. Sophia and being Negan and everything like that, which is still an awesome picture. Cliffjumper holding the key to Vector Sigma. Amy in her what if with Beth in the finale. Hercule for his story. Garen for his with the Destroyer key. And this one, I talked to King Devin about. This is going to be hilarious one whenever I do sell it. Because everyone can just hate on Lori, and we can have like a freaking signing for who hates Lori, and we can like write it on the paper. Nam for his story with Tien and Goku. Dale with his shotgun arm for his what if. And last but not least for the moment, Merle with his sword hand. And that's all the pictures for now. I need to get frames, ink, and then probably next week I'll be setting up the merch shop. And then I will put links for it in the description of all my stuff. So yeah, that will be my merch shop. It will be on eBay. And then all I'll have to do is come up with a cool name. Oh, Nick's Omniversal Treasures is, I think, what I called it. Have to keep up with the theme of the channel. There we go. All right, let's get back to the Q&A here. Oppie, I don't watch Sons of Anarchy. As for Gumball what ifs, I'm not really into Gumball stuff. I've only seen memes of it and like small portions of it on TV. But it's one of those like Cartoon Network stuff that I'm not into. Adventure Time, Teen Titans, and small stuff like that is what I was mainly into. But yeah, let's get back into the Q&A. Got kind of sidetracked with all the discussion, but I really just wanted to show you guys. Yeah, what if Megan fought Chucky for the what if here? Let's try and spice it up a little bit. I don't want to limit you guys to one thing because I know how that went before. I got it. Since I'm already on to like horror stuff, watching like Dead Meat and stuff like that, let's see how many horror movie what ifs, crossovers, and like villain stuff with specifically franchises and crossovers, not singular stuff, that you guys can come up with. It could be fights, franchise built stuff like Friday the 13th or It or something, just as long as it's not a singular movie. It could be crossover villain fights and just stuff like that. What if Madison died instead of Travis's wife? I have Madison dying instead of Travis, but that's the closest you're going to get. Like Megan fighting Chucky, that is good. I think I just had an idea. No, Annabelle's like... Annabelle's not like Megan, Chucky, and Slappy. She doesn't do much, so I can't really incorporate Annabelle. I mean, sure, she's a demon doll, but unlike the other dolls, she just doesn't do much. So I was going to include her, but nah. Megan fighting Slappy the doll, that's a good one. Now that King mentioned that. For those of you who don't know who Slappy is, he's basically a evil possessed dummy from Goosebumps. For like the 3% of you that don't know who Slappy is. So Megan fighting Chucky and Slappy. That's the two we got so far. What if Ted Bundy? I feel like I remember that name. Ted Bundy. Wait, don't tell me. 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 I got this. I got this. I got this. Oh. I feel like Ted Bundy, from what I'm seeing of him, heard of him, and everything like that, I feel like he's worse than Jeffrey Dahmer by at least a good margin. I don't really think the two are comparable. Although I do have Jeffrey Dahmer being a part of the Claimers and the Ferals and several other things. Because I know plenty about Jeffrey Dahmer. Or Jeff Dahmer, if you want to be freaking specific. You're one of those people. What if Ed survived? That's already been done on the channel, and I plan to do a remake of it coming up in the next few months. Whenever the frick that is. Is it me, or does the freaking balloons and beach balls in the background here look like freaking baby Einstein or some crap? Maybe I'm just freaking being weird. What if Jeffrey Dahmer was part of the prisoners? Well, I already have the Walking Dead one for Jeff, but you know what? We'll include it. Why the frick not? Anyone got any horror movie based what ifs? It could be franchise stuff, fights, etc., etc. Just for the moment. You guys don't have to stick to that, obviously, but I just figure since I'm already on that, I would ask. What if Eugene saved Sebastian? Would any of us even want him to live? He almost killed Max. So why would he save him? That seems very out of character. What if Electro for me is... Electro is way too overpowered for The Walking Dead. For the characters that I do put in, like friggin' Kid Goku, Yamcha, Yajirobe, Bobbity, and like friggin' John Wick and everything else, I have to nerf them to be able to put them in the story. And like stuff like that. Some characters I just can't nerf that bad. Some are even too much of a stretch. Electro is one of those stretches, especially considering the fact that all he would need is just to blast everyone in The Walking Dead and they would all die. And considering spiderwebs barely did anything against Electro, you can't hope that gunshots or anything would do anything against him either. Abraham surviving is saved already. It's a what if to be done in the future. All right, so we got Megan fighting Chucky, and then Slappy, and Jeffrey Dahmer being in the prison. I feel like Jeff Dahmer is better than Jeffrey Dahmer. It just sounds shorter and much better for his name. I feel just like Jeffrey Dahmer just feels a bit long. Jeff Dahmer just sounds more like unique. Sounds better. Maybe I'm just being weird. Okay, I guess we're not getting any horror movie ideas. Back to the originals then. Unless we could think of some more later. I just figured I'd recommend the horror movie ones since it was already on Dead Meat and everything. And I just figured maybe people had some what if ideas for horror movie villains and characters and stuff, but we'll get back to that another time. Maybe whenever I'm like on the subject on my channel, like doing a what if on it or something. What if Finn McMissile crossed over in John Wick? Okay. I don't really. Finn was a spy. He wasn't an assassin. There's a difference. Unless you can come up with a unique idea for how that fits, I can't really make that. Whew. What if Shane died in Atlanta like the comics? I have that saved already. I'm not doing comic based what ifs. I'm only doing nods from the comics and then putting them in the show. Because the comics continuity and everything, I got into the show before I got into the comics. It took me forever to even like look into small nods from them when I was doing my stories, and I just saw pictures of them and decided to use nods from them. And then I actually read the full comics, and they were decent, but too much of it was just out of whack, out of style. It just didn't match what the show has, is, and always will be. I've had Herschel not get bit many of times, and I have Herschel dying from the bites, I think, as well as several other like stuff similar to that. As for that Finn McMissile one, I'm still willing to go through with it. I would just need a plot to make Finn McMissile close to what John Wick was. Daniel Salazar was very much close to what John Wick was. He was practically a Fear the Walking Dead John Wick. But Finn, he was a spy, not an assassin. I'm still willing to do that if you have a compelling enough opening to how that story would like play out. Okay, all right. I just didn't know if you more or less just avoided the idea. I'm always willing to accept any idea. Literally, I've read every comment and reacted and commented back to every comment. As long as it's worth commenting back to, and as long as the story is compelling enough to do, in my mind. But honestly, if I showed you guys my new updated quick memo, not the ones that I sent before, but the ones that I have now, it's literally probably inching on 300 ideas. Not even joking. Yeah, it's that insane. And I'm going to continue growing that list until I literally have nothing left to talk about. Absolutely nothing. Which I'm hoping doesn't happen until I'm at least into my 50s. Yes, I plan to do this for that long. I don't know too many YouTubers who go on past, at least yet, the age of 40 and a half, 50, maybe. But I could very well just have watched someone that was that age and just not remembered. I have the Terminus people joining, or I have Gareth joining the Pharaohs, as well as the Pharaohs being implemented into Terminus and several other what ifs like that. So, yeah. It's Bono Fox. I'm just looking at who the guy is, and besides not knowing who he was till I typed it in, I don't know how it would fit into meeting Merle Dixon, considering, especially because I don't know who he is, or never looked into him until just now. John Dory surviving is saved. I'm trying to think of an easier way to go about this whole thing. Although I don't think that anyone's actually going to remember to do this, and it's a long shot. But, so you know how I basically, this is going to be for everybody. You know how I basically save everything in my quick memo, like I just said, for stories and like that kind of stuff. And then I make the lists of it and everything, because it's best to do that. I could say that you guys could do the same thing, where you guys like could save the ideas, like, or jot them down, like ideas that you recommend that have been saved or that I can't do or something like that. But I feel that if I asked you guys to do that, it would be very complex, especially with so many people recommending the same exact ideas opposite to each other. So I'm going to avoid putting that on you guys. What if young Sheldon was in The Walking Dead? That's saved. It's pretty much going about it in a way that helps me as well as helping you guys. So if I asked you guys to do that, it would just create more havoc than it would good. So we're just going to go about it the usual way. It was more or less just an idea of a solution, more or less. But we're all good. we're going to be wrapping up here in the next few minutes. Any last minute what ifs? Well, any last 3 or 4 minute what ifs, since we're not totally done, and we usually ended at an hour 15, and now I'm just rambling. But if anyone here knows me as a person, like, you know, that I'm just known to be a talker and all that, I have people asked me to do The Walking Dead taking place earlier, and I think I have it saved, but that early would be nigh impossible because no one we knew would be in it. So it's just impossible to do. Negan and Daryl being brothers and several other things like that are already saved. And I have Negan and Rick swapping places and several swapping places what ifs, but Negan and Daryl, it's just too similar to half the other what ifs I have. Daniel was a main character that kept on going and kept the story going in many aspects, especially with Charlie, until season 8 when he reunited with Skidmark, and then Victor got the family and everything like that. Yeah. Lalo Salamanca, I don't know who that is. What if Daryl's brother was Negan's right-hand man? Merle? I have Merle joining Negan as an already done story, as well as a remake planned for the future. This is Daryl. I don't watch Better Call Saul. Well, that's not how you really worded the what if. You said, what if Daryl's brother, which would be Merle, was Negan's right-hand man? So that was technically Merle there. So, sorry to tell you that, but that's how you worded it. And you can't really replace Daryl because then you would need someone to replace Negan's spot. It's too much complication. I don't play the Fallout games. What if Mercer met Abraham? I have that actually happened in the Madison and Rick story, as well as my Sophia and Negan story. And Abraham joining the CRM and several other what ifs like that are already saved. All right. It's all right. I was just saying that if you were trying to word it one way, it's not how it came out. What if Rick was a Navy SEAL? I have Rick and Shane being military soldiers as already saved from someone else. That's the closest to that idea. Okay. So, we are going to wrap it all up. It was 3 ideas, but hey, we've had small ideas before, and it has never stopped us from having a good time on the Q&As. As always, if you guys did not get to recommend a certain idea or ideas, it literally doesn't matter how few or many that you weren't able to, you are more than welcome to recommend them in the comment section of this stream when it releases fully, or anywhere on my channel or Discord. It literally doesn't matter where you say the requests or comments. I will find them and I will see what I can do. And I will save the ideas that were brought up here, even if it's however few or many there were. And with that all out of the way, I will see you guys later on the server, tomorrow on the server, the next week for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday videos, next Saturday for the next Q&A. And look forward, because the beginning and middle of August is coming up, which means the McQueen Walking Dead crossover story is coming up, which a lot of people are looking forward to. And with all that out of the way, stay tuned for updates on my upcoming eBay merch site coming up here, which will be the name I will at least tease, as well as you guys saw the pictures, Nick's Omniversal Treasures. With all that out of the way, thank you guys so much for the ideas for the stream, and I will see you guys next Q&A.